Hello, everyone. My name is Jodie Meschuk, and I am honored to be here speaking with you today for your Silver Virtual Training. A huge thank you to Young Living Indonesia and the APAC committee for having me so that we can talk about this incredible milestone of hitting the rank of silver. What does that really mean, and where do we go from here? This is an important topic, guys, because what we're going to do today is we are going to make it very, very simple. I am a firm believer that this business is indeed one of the most simple, repetitious things that we do. The problem is, as most of you know, we tend to overcomplicate it. So you might be in a position right now where you feel like, I don't know what to do. Maybe you go to your phone or your computer or you sit down and you think to yourself, I feel so lost. I'm not sure where to go from here. Or maybe you are in the midst of helping some people on your team hit their next ranks. You might have even stopped for a little while and now maybe you're ready to get back into it. Or you could just be on fire and going towards diamond and crown diamond and royal crown diamond. Either way, this topic is for everybody. I am very passionate about making things simple and helping those on my team that I work with to see just how basic we can make this business so that we don't get overwhelmed, so that we don't feel lost. Okay, are you ready? Because I am pumped for this topic. I will have to tell you, right off the bat, I might have a dog that barks in the background because, hey, we're dealing with all kinds of challenges being at home. It's just not the same, right? But very, very soon, we are getting back into seeing each other in person, and I cannot wait for that. So pretend for a moment that we are all together in one big, amazing conference room. You are drinking your coffee or your tea, and you've got your paper out and you're writing notes. In fact, I highly encourage you to take out some paper and write down these very simple concepts we're going to go through. All right. Now, I have been a Royal Crown Diamond. Our team has been a Royal Crown Diamond since August of 2017. And I am so proud to say that our team has maintained that rank every single month. And I feel in my heart of hearts that the reason we have maintained that rank as a team is because of this three-pillar approach. So that is what we are going to be talking about today, the three pillars. Now, this concept was born from a place of wanting to make things simple and helping those on my team to have direction. Because if we don't have direction and we don't know where we're going on a daily basis, that's when we can feel lost, right? So the topic that you're going to write on the top of your paper is the three-pillar approach. I am very proud of this concept. You guys, there is a lot of shiny objects around us every day. There's books. I mean, I have a bookcase full of all kinds of books next to me. And there is trainings that we can take. There are people that we can pay to help us. There are all kinds of things that look like shiny objects, and we tend to go towards these shiny objects when we want to see success. But I am here to tell you that you don't have to spend any extra money in order to get to your next rank or in order to even reach the rank of Royal Crown Diamond. If we are putting these simple concepts in place every single day. Okay, so now I can't talk without first mentioning our Gary Young. I don't think that we should ever enter any talk in Young Living without honoring his memory and honoring his legacy. And I will tell you, one thing that I remember about Gary Young, the few times that I had met him and even stood side by side, had conversations. There was even a time where I moved dirt on an excavator with him. I mean, some incredible memories. But I will tell you, one of the things that I remember about him is his love for people, kind of that customer service aspect, right? So anytime that I would talk to Gary, and I guarantee you, anytime any member of Young Living or even people outside of Young Living were to talk to him, you felt that he cared deeply for you. And that wasn't, I mean, that was true, right? He cared deeply for every single person. So that is actually the first thing that I want to bring up as we lay a foundation for the 3-pillar approach. And that is, if you can remember one thing every day as you approach your business, it is that this entire business is built on connections with people. Now think about this for a second. You can take any company in the world, any Fortune 500 company. You can even take maybe your local grocery outlet or maybe your local retailer. I guarantee you, they have somebody on their payroll that is in charge of the member experience or the customer experience. They have somebody whose job it is to take care of people. You know what's interesting in this business is that's our job, right? Because it's our business. It's our company. It's our ownership in our own company. And we get the massive honor of taking care of people, not only who are currently on our teams, because if you're at the rank of silver, you probably have at least 150 people, let's say, roughly, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more, who are on your team. Some of those you may have personally enrolled, and probably a good majority other people have helped get started with Young Living. But it is an honor to be able to be that person that creates that member experience on our team. So I want you to think of that as we go forward, because, hey, listen, if we're not having joy in what we do, it's going to be really hard for people on our team to also have joy. If we are not having fun with what we do, if we're not finding fulfillment in what we do every day, it's going to be hard for our new builders or our seasoned builders to also find joy and fun and fulfillment in what they do. So we get the honor of leading that charge, much like Gary has done for those of us in Young Living. It's a pretty cool thing. So remember, you are the owner of your business. Get your face in front of people. This is also really important, okay? At a time where I know many people cannot fly across the country right now or fly to another country, it is important that we get our face in front of people. And so that can either be through a Zoom call, it can be through FaceTime, it can be in person, maybe in your own home having coffee or tea. But a big part of that personal experience that you're going to create on your team, because it is indeed the relationship that matters. That is the driver to all of this that we are going to be talking about. Okay, let's get into really quick of why the 3 pillars. How was this born? This was born out of giving ourselves direction in this business. I mentioned before how sometimes we can feel a little lost. We live in a very chaotic world right now. We live in a world where we have a lot of information hitting us all the time, whether it's on our phone or on our computer or in chat groups or on WhatsApp or on Telegram, you name it. The benefits of being able to connect with people all over the world are wonderful. However, we do have to be careful because we can also feel lost in all of the chaos. So this concept was really born out of giving ourselves direction, okay? Making things simple, and even more importantly, something that we can control. Do you ever find that you sit back and you might have expectations of people on your team? Okay, the rank of silver is actually a very interesting milestone in Young Living, because at this rank, we can often feel like, gosh, why aren't my people enrolling other people? How am I going to get to gold? How am I going to get to platinum and diamond? I need people to be doing more on my team. I can't be doing all the work. Have you ever said that? Because I know that I have said that at those critical ranks of silver and gold. And you know what? It comes down to having expectations of people. So, in the three pillar approach, the beauty of it is that we are going to take away expectation, because remember this, write this down. Expectations are premeditated disappointments. So, every time that we have an expectation of another person, first of all, we can't control another person, right? We can only control ourselves and our own production. And then we can only use that as an engine to help others on our team duplicate by them following what we are doing. But we have to do it first, right? Okay. So expectations are premeditated disappointments. When we have expectations of other people, oftentimes we're going to be disappointed because, again, they are their own person. They're doing their own thing. And what we can do is we can lead by example. The other thing that I find happens at the silver rank sometimes is that we might have expectations of our support network above us. We might have expectations of cross-line people. We've already talked about having some expectations of people on our own team. But I want you to remember this, especially in a time where in the world we are having some very, very big feelings about a lot of important topics. Here's the thing, guys. We're not always going to see eye to eye with people in Young Living. And that's okay, because Young Living is better the more diverse it is. What we can control is this environment that we are going to create for our own team, right? So while it's wonderful to have a support network of people who are above us, who we can rely on, we can gain mentorship from, you may not always see eye to eye. In fact, you might even have a different building style than somebody in your support network, and that's okay too. Go back to point number one, which is this is your team. And this is your chance and opportunity to create the vibe that you want, right? Okay, now let's move into the three pillars, and we're going to go through these. I'm going to try to give you an example for each one so that you can really put that into practice and envision how that looks realistically in life. Okay, because I'm a realistic person and I need to know and visualize what that might look like in my own actions and in my own building of my team. All right, the three pillars. First and foremost, we're going to just lay out exactly what they are. I have my notes here because otherwise I will get off track a little bit. Okay, so pillar number one is you're going to write down embrace. We're going to go back and we're going to go through these and peel back all the layers, but you're going to write down embrace. Pillar number two is educate. And pillar number three is empower. All right, so let's go to pillar number one. We've already mentioned how important it is to have real relationships with people and to help people feel valued and seen and heard. And I want to give you an example of this that actually just happened to me yesterday. You guys, I am full of real life examples. And I think we all are. If our eyes are open, if our ears are open, we can see every single day how important relationships are and how much we as human beings desire to feel seen and heard and valued. Okay, so the short story of it is my husband just took a business trip and he landed at the airport about 3,000 miles away from me, went to go get his rental car and realized that he did not have the correct business credit card with him. Now, he had another debit card with him. He had another credit card with him. He had cash with him. But the rental car place decided not to help him. And even worse, When he tried to have a conversation with them and work out a solution, a very viable solution, they didn't want to hear anything he had to say. In fact, you can almost say he was completely dismissed by every single person at the counter. You know what that feels like? That feels like you're not seen. It kind of drives you a little bit crazy when you're trying to connect with somebody, but they are dismissing you every single time. He was then sent to a couple other rental car places where they did the very same thing. And in the end, he ended up finding, after I spent about 4 hours on the phone trying to actually talk to a human being at all of these rental car places, mind you, 4 hours. I never was able to actually talk to a real human being. That was very frustrating. I felt extremely dismissed as a human being, not being able to talk to somebody. He finally went and found the last rental car place, and you know what? The guy there understood the importance of connecting with other humans. He decided to go out of his way to help my husband because otherwise he would have been stranded at the airport. I mean, literally stranded, and there was nothing that I could do to help him 3,000 miles away. I felt completely helpless. And I felt even more helpless because I couldn't actually talk to a real human being to help us. So I want us to keep that in mind every time we are interacting with people. You know, we all have different personalities, and we're going to meet people in our life who maybe don't want to hear what we have to say or what we have to share when it comes to natural health. But if we can help those people feel heard and seen and valued, we are going to make an impact on their life, and you never know when that's going to come back. So in Pillar 1, specifically in the Young Living business, what we are doing is we are helping other people in our life who are not yet members, help walk them into the Young Living lifestyle. Now, what I mean by helping to walk them into the Young Living lifestyle is essentially helping them get a starter kit or helping them place their first order, helping them to become a member with you as their mentor. Pillar 1 is so simple. This is what we do on a daily basis. And this is actually where we should be spending the majority of our time. Now, what does this really look like in real life? Because I understand it's very simple for me to just say, hey, it's important that you always help people get started with Young Living. We know that that's important, right? Because that is growth on our team. But what does that really look like, and where do people often miss the mark in Pillar 1? Well, some ways that we can miss the mark is that we forget how important it is that we connect with other people. Make relationships, meet new people, put ourselves in positions where we do meet new people. And I know what you're saying, Jodie, I don't have anybody. Right? This is another common barrier that happens at the rank of silver, where we can often tell ourselves, I don't have anybody. There's nobody else. Okay, if you're saying that, or if you have ever said that to yourself, it is time to go back to basics. And here's what I want you to do. The first thing I want you to do is write out a list right now. Don't overthink it. I want you to write out 5 things that you are extremely passionate about. And you guys, don't hold back. For me, I'm gonna say something like, I'm passionate about freedom. I'm passionate about CrossFit and working out. I'm passionate about going to a Bible study. I'm passionate about making kombucha and elderberry syrup and those types of things. Those are going to be some of the things on my list, but I would start with 5. Now, here's what you're going to do with that list. And remember, your brain is going to want to tell you, no, you can't do this. You can't go meet people right now. You can't travel right now. You can't do this. Your brain's going to want to tell you that, but your heart knows the answer. And the answer is that where there's a will, there's a way. And we can make and create situations that we can get in front of people. We can even use social media. Social media is overwhelming. I totally get it. But you need to use social media in a very intentional way. Go to places that align with your top 5 passions. Don't just scroll on Facebook. Okay, so here's where you're going to make pillar 1 more intentional and give yourself direction. You're going to go to those 5 things you wrote down, and you're going to start to write down next to it, where do you find like-minded people? Because at the end of the day, if our goal is to help as many people as possible find natural health, we are probably going to be more successful if we are like-minded. Now, I'm personally not into knitting. So I'm probably not going to join a knitting club because I would be sitting there with a frown on my face and super miserable. And those other ladies at the table, or maybe a man, who knows, would look at me and go, I don't want anything she has to do with. She's miserable. So we don't want to put ourselves in situations where we are not passionate or interested in something. We want to, right off the bat, have some commonality with people. So you're going to write down those 5 things, and then you are going to write down how you're going to connect with those people, and you're going to do it. You're going to start right now. Don't wait. That could be in Facebook communities that you find. It could be in Telegram communities, WhatsApp communities. It could be local, in person. You might even start something and be the pioneer and start something in your own town for something you're passionate about. Because I guarantee you, if you're passionate about something, there's other people who are passionate about it as well. Okay, I want to give you a real life example in pillar 1 because sometimes it helps to see a visual. When I first moved to this home about 3 years ago, I was uprooted from my hometown, a place that I had lived for over 35 years. And it was hard. It is where I originally built my Young Living business, in person, having classes in my home. And here I am in a new place, and I don't know anybody. Now, I have to admit, for the first few months, I was a hermit because I thought to myself, do I really have to go meet new people? Is it really worth it? It's too much hard work. Nobody's going to want to listen to what I have to say. It's just easier to stay in my home and support my team on my computer, right? Or I can go travel to people. Well, that didn't last very long because I very quickly realized how important it is to have in-person relationships with people. You guys, this is the bread and butter of this business. And if anything, I would say if you even spent 50% of your time in pillar 1, you're going to grow and you're going to help people get started in Young Living with you. So here's what I did. I thought to myself, I really need to get back to working out. I really like CrossFit. I haven't done CrossFit in a while because I used to belong to a gym in my old hometown that I moved away from. So I found a CrossFit gym and I went there for a few months and I tried a few different classes. I wasn't super consistent with the time that I went, but then I kind of ended up going at like this 9:15 a.m. class that happened to be mostly female and a lot of people in my age group and a lot of people in my stage of life. But I kind of kept to myself. I was sort of it's too much work to talk to people. I don't know if they're gonna like me. We can all fall into that, guys. And so come to find out, much later on after I made relationships in that class, they all thought that I was just not friendly and they didn't want to approach me. You guys, see how that works? I was so worried that they would not like me or that I wouldn't find friends that I was just the one with the frown in the corner working out. But they actually really did want to get to know me. So here's what I did, is I made a commitment to go to the same class every day so that I would see the same group of women and be able to create a relationship with them. Did I start out right away by saying, hi, I'm Jodie. I sell Young Living. No, I did not, and please don't do that. That's not a great approach. I will be honest with you. I've never done that approach. But we want to make relationships with people and get to know them for who they are so that they can get to know us. I started coming with my Ninja Red bottle, and I would put Ninja in there and Sulfurzyme, and I would drink that throughout the whole workout, and it would create curiosity. And then they would ask me questions, and then I would ask them questions. And then lo and behold, a few months down the road, I got up the courage to say, hey guys, I'm gonna be making some elderberry syrup. Come over to my house. And it was kind of my first little gathering. I had my starter kit out, like just diffusing oils. We made elderberry syrup. We talked and got to know each other. And you know what? In the end, over the course of a year, I ended up helping quite a few of them get started with Young Living. But here's how it started. It started with consistency and showing my face in front of people. And it started with asking a lot of questions about them and getting to know them. I wanted to make them feel seen and valued and heard, and they did. Okay, so pillar one, extremely important. And all it is, at the end of the day, pillar one is we are helping walk people into the Young Living lifestyle. All right, let's move on to pillar number two. Pillar number two, educate. Now, as a silver leader, you are in a position right now where you do have some people on your team that maybe you have personally helped get started and maybe you have not. This is an opportunity where we get to put the same pieces that pillar one is and we put it into pillar two. Pillar two is helping walk people into essential rewards or a monthly lifestyle. It's one thing to help somebody get started with Young Living, and it's an entirely other thing if we can help them embrace the lifestyle of Young Living. So how do we do that? At the end of the day, we do it through education and we do it through relationships. Quite simply, it is making those same relationships, helping people on our team feel seen and valued and heard, whether we helped them personally get started or not, and then asking a lot of questions to help expand their lifestyle. Here's how this can look. All right, actually, let's first talk about some roadblocks with this, because some things that I often hear, and this would actually typically be part of a, if I were to have a Q&A with my business builders, and this is something that I've heard quite often. Jodie, nobody's interested in essential rewards. I can't seem to get anybody to respond back to me. All right. So some of the reason why that happens is because we are forgetting the very meat of this business, right? The very meat of it is that personal relationship. So our approach matters a lot because, in this day and age, I can tell you that most people can smell something rotten a mile away. Meaning, if we are approaching them solely based on an outcome of growth like volume or an outcome that is our personal rank, they're going to be able to see that we might have an ulterior motive. Now, at the end of the day, the outcome is important, but it's what we're doing in the middle of it that makes a difference, okay? So here's an example of how Pillar 2 can work a little bit more efficiently for you. Oftentimes we look at our organization and we see, this person is 0 PV, this person hasn't ordered in a while, and we attempt to reach out to them. But our reach out can be a little bit plain sometimes, or kind of fall on deaf ears. Sometimes it can look like, hi, my name is Jodie. I just wanted to reach out to you and let you know that you haven't ordered in a while. Is there anything that I can help you with? Well, it's nice to reach out, but that person may not feel that real personal connection from you. Or sometimes we send out blanketed emails to all of our members who are not on Essential Rewards yet, and we just present the Essential Rewards program. Now, you might get a few people who look at that and go, that's a good deal. I should totally get on that. I told you my dog barks. I don't know if you heard that. But for the most part, I would say a lot of people might look at an email or look at a kind of copy and paste type of communication and probably not give it a second thought because there's not a personal relationship there. So here's what I would recommend. First and foremost, look at all of those people on your team. See who helped them get started. It's probably a good idea to reach out to that person first and ask them questions about who's on their team. Hey, tell me a little bit about this person. What are they into? What are their hobbies? What are they passionate about? That person may not know because they may not be doing the 3 pillars. They might actually not even be actively growing a business, in which case you're the customer service, right? You're the one actively wanting to grow this business, and you are the one that have the goals. So you might just say, okay, cool. Well, I'm just going to get to know them a little bit. I'm going to reach out to them because I'd like to know what they're passionate about and how I can support them. So then you might reach out to that person who you did not personally help get started, and maybe you do a little research first. Maybe you go and find them on Facebook and you see what they're into and you see what they're posting. Regardless of whether you are like-minded or not, or have the same interests, we need to know what other people are interested in. So maybe you do a little research, and then maybe you reach out to them through a voice message. I would always recommend, guys, that personal touch, whether it's an actual phone call where they hear your voice, or it's a Facebook voice message, or it's a text voice message, or a Telegram voice message. Hearing your voice is that personal touch. And this is taking it from checking the box and saying, well, I sent an email or I sent a text. We don't want to check the box. People know when we're checking the box. We want to make it more personal. So send a voice message so they can hear you and they can hear your heart. So maybe you're going to reach out to them and say, hey, my name is Jodie. I just wanted to let you know that I'm part of your support network in Young Living. Oh my gosh, I totally saw that you are really interested in basketball. That is amazing. Did you play basketball at some time? And you ask a question. You don't ask a question right about Young Living. You ask a question about them as a person. Or maybe you notice that they have just had a baby and you say, oh my gosh, congratulations on your new little one. I just want to let you know that I'm thinking about you, and gosh, is there anything that I can pray for you for or support you with? And you just extend something about them and that you recognize what they're interested in and you care about them, and you just start the conversation going. With this pillar, it can look a little bit different with each person. Some people are going to get back to you right away, and you might even find that right off the bat, you have some very common interests. You might find that you have no common interests, but they get back to you, and we want to show them that we care about what they are into. So that conversation might go back and forth for a little while, and then it might turn into Young Living, just organically. They might ask you a question like, hey, I didn't get my order, or I had an issue with this or that, in which case we can help them with that. And then we can ask them an open-ended question. So here's where the magic of Pillar 2 happens. When we get to that point of laying a foundation of relationship, then the door can open to talking about Young Living. And so it might look like something where I'm having a conversation with a new member, and I notice that they're not on ER, and we've been talking back and forth. And I might message them one day and I might say, hey, Sally, I was just opening up my order today and I got the new Vitality drops. I don't know if you have that in your market, sorry, but that's just on my desk right now, so I'm looking at it because I drink them all the time. But pick something that was in your order, that maybe it was the first time you ordered it, or maybe it's something that you used and you had an amazing result. Share that with that person. You guys, this is actually one of the most powerful tools we have in connecting with other people, and that is sharing stories. So not only do we want to continually be sharing our personal story of Young Living with members and with people who are not yet getting started with Young Living, but we want to share every story. So we don't want to go with having an experience and then keeping it to ourselves. I'm still having daily experiences 7 years later into doing this business. So I might share with that person, oh my gosh, and remember, be excited, right? If people feel our excitement and our joy, they're going to have fun right along with us. So I might say something like, I just got the new Vitality Drops. They are amazing. I am drinking so much water. My skin is looking better. My digestion is already better. I'm so curious, Sally, what have you ordered recently that you've had kind of an aha moment? Because let me tell you, I had an aha moment. And you're sharing that experience with them, but you're also opening the door to asking what matters to them. And they're going to get back to you and say, oh, well, I haven't really ordered anything in a while. And you might say something like, well, I'm curious. Tell me, what are some things that you're interested in? What are some things about your health or your family's health that you'd like to learn more about? Open-ended questions, you guys, are going to be one of your most powerful tools in this business. So often we get caught in asking closed-ended questions where that person really has nothing left to say back to us. If I were to ask a question like, how are you liking your starter kit? It's kind of a yes or no answer, right? If I were to ask a question, hey, did you get that information I sent you on Essential Rewards? That's a yes or no answer. We want to be asking open-ended questions that give them an opportunity to converse back with us. All right, so pillar 2 is very successfully approached through relationships so that we can understand what's important to them. At the end of the day, guys, in every single pillar, we need to know what is important to that person. It's not about what's important to us. It's about what's important to them and then how we can serve them. All right, pillar number 3, empower. This is, again, kind of the magic sauce. This is duplication, but it's not duplication as in we want builders on our team to follow the 3 pillars alongside us. We want that. That is true duplication of action. But pillar 3 is the duplication piece of growth on our team. This is growth in numbers of members. This, at the end of the day, has to happen if we want to grow to Royal Crown Diamond. We need to have lots of people sharing every day. Now, that doesn't mean that we need to have rock star enrollers. That doesn't mean that every single person on our team has to share and enroll 20 people per month. Remember expectation? We don't want to put those expectations on people. But what pillar 3 looks like is as many people as possible sharing with 1 or 2 people per month. Because at the end of the day, that is going to be explosive growth for your team. And when we have momentum and we have explosive growth, you can't stop it. It's kind of like a train barreling down the tracks that cannot be stopped, okay? But in pillar 3, we want to keep it simple, right? So it is walking people into sharing. Now, here's what I find often happens with pillar 3. We can kind of give the same excuses as pillar 1 or pillar 2. I don't have anybody that wants to share. Nobody's getting back to me. Nobody's responding to me. I'm the only one doing all the work, right? Have you guys ever said that? Or maybe you've heard somebody say that. Maybe even a builder on your own team has come to you and said that as well. I don't have anybody sharing. I don't know how to get people to start sharing. Well, number 1, we have to remember expectation. We can't just sit there and expect people to know what to do or to have the desire to do it. We are leading by example. So if we are doing pillar 3, we're going to have other people duplicate that action as they grow their team. So pillar 3, if we think about walking people into sharing and we keep it very simple, this is what it typically looks like. Well, actually, let's talk about what it typically looks like where it's not successful. Okay? Some things that I have seen and I've even done, because I will always tell you the things that I've done that have not worked very well, is we can sort of dangle a carrot in front of people. We can say, hey, if you enroll, you get this. Now, those are fun things to do. And I highly recommend we think about how to create fun and excitement on our teams, because at the end of the day, people want to have fun, right? Especially now in this world of chaos and not as much personal connection with people. People want to have fun, and we want to create that space. So having the occasional giveaway or having the occasional incentive for your team, I highly recommend it. But we can't expect that alone to encourage people to share. Okay, we want to help them see the value of sharing, and we want to help them see how simple it is. Okay, so with this pillar, it could look like this, and I'm going to give you a real life example. Let's say that I'm having a chat with somebody who I'm working with in pillar 2. Okay, remember pillar 2? I'm helping people get more connected to the lifestyle, get more connected into essential rewards. So let's say I'm having a conversation with Jill. And Jill and I are talking back and forth on Facebook Messenger, and I'm leaving her a message. Oh my gosh, I just got this. It's amazing. This is what happened with my son. And she's going to leave me a message back. And she might say something like this. Gosh, I just ordered the charcoal bar soap, and my teenage son has been using it to wash his face. And oh my gosh, it is incredible. I'm just like beside myself at how amazing it has been working. And, you know, I think of all these other teenage boys in his class who don't have something like this, and I'm just like blown away. Well, Jill actually just opened the door for me to talk to her about how easy it is to share with other people. And I might say something like this back to Jill. Oh my gosh, Jill. Yes. I mean, we can't live without the charcoal bar soap. My preteen son has been using it, and it's been awesome for his skin. Jill, I'm so curious. Have you shared it with anybody yet? Just that simple question alone of, I'm so curious. Have you shared that story with anyone? Because remember, we want to share stories. And stories are what connect to people. So we want to also encourage people on our team to share their stories, even if they don't see themselves as running to Royal Crown Diamond right now. Maybe they have no idea that they can even build a business with Young Living. We want to look for that door to open. So Jill might say something back to me. I didn't know I could share. What do you mean share? And I might say, well, gosh, think about, I'm curious, who in your life right now, who of the moms that you know at school or in the PTA, I'm not sure what you guys have, but we have something called PTA here, Parent Teacher Association. Do you have relationships with any of those moms? And do they have teenagers as well that they could use that? And Jill might say something like, gosh, I don't know. Or she might say, yeah, I know a few of them. And then I want to make it easy for her to share. So here's where the magic happens, is at the end of the day, I don't want Jill to feel overwhelmed like she has to have 1 million books about how to run a business and she has to have an office loaded with product, right? That is not what Young Living is. Young Living is one-on-one personal conversations with people. So I'm going to make it really easy for her to share so that she can do that action without feeling like there's a roadblock. So I might say something like this. Well, I'm curious, do you think it would be helpful for you if I sent you a few resources in the mail? Maybe some brochures that you can take the next time you are seeing some of these other moms in person? And she's probably going to say, sure, I would love that. So it's at least opening that door to be able to continue that conversation and give her tools that she can use right away. All right, I call these like little sharing packets, where anytime that I'm having a conversation with someone, that door opens, or maybe I notice some members on my team have shared for the very first time. That very first time of sharing is a amazing milestone for people, and it's an opportunity that we can take that further and help them see the potential of a Young Living business. So with these sharing packs, what I like to send them are a few little brochures that they can share with other people, maybe some of those little essential oil drams that you can put like 5 drops of oil in, and maybe a few little cards that talk about, what each oil is and what you can do with it. It just empowers them to be able to know that they can share too, and how easy that is. So that's what we want to look for, is when we are having these conversations with members who are on Essential Rewards. Typically this works really well with people who are already starting to invest in the lifestyle, because they're in it, right? They're using the product a lot. They're invested. So when we're having those conversations, we're looking for that excitement. Maybe you noticed somebody shared a story on social media, and you go and you look them up, or maybe you already have a relationship with them and you know that they've never helped anybody get started in Young Living. That's an amazing door that's opening for you to be able to now personally reach out to them and talk to them about sharing and make it simple, okay? So Pillar 3 is continuously working in Pillar 2. If we continually put time in Pillar 2, we're going to always have people to talk to about sharing. We're going to always be able to look for those doors to open. Our eyes are going to be open, our ears are going to be open, we're going to be listening for the excitement, and then we're just going to keep walking people into sharing. And we're going to notice over time that our team is growing because other people are sharing with other people, okay? All right, those are the 3 pillars, very, very simply laid out for you. Pillar 1, remember, we are looking at embracing, sharing with new people, making new relationships, finding opportunities that we can make new relationships with people that we are like-minded in some of our passions. Pillar number 2 is educate, help bring members into the lifestyle of Young Living. And pillar number 3, empower, walk people into sharing. All right, guys, hope you got all those notes down. Now, I do have a special little section to talk to you about business builders, because this, I find, is a very critical moment at the rank of silver. Here's what I find tends to happen at silver. We stop doing the 3 pillars and we start only working with our builders, right? So we ourselves stop sharing with new people, stop making new relationships in an effort to walk them into the lifestyle. We kind of maybe sometimes forget all of those people who aren't on ER, because we expect other people, other business builders, to help them, even though they may not be in the same place that we are in terms of building our business. So we end up sitting in front of our computer, going through a task list, checking the box, and only working with builders. You guys, this is a critical mistake that we will make at the rank of silver. So if you have done this, have no fear. We get do-overs all the time in this business. In fact, every day you wake up is a do-over, I can promise you, okay? Or maybe you're just brand new into this rank of silver. Take what I have to say to heart, because this will change your business. Working with builders is not part of the 3 pillars, okay? Working with builders is kind of an added bonus, but we want to be very careful that 80% of our time is spent in the 3 pillars. If we spend at least 80% of our time working the 3 pillars every day, every action we do fits into one of the pillars. Every action we do is making a relationship with a real live human being. everything and every effort we do comes back to building relationships. If 80% of our time is spent there, we are going to grow. And not only that, but we're going to have joy and happiness too. 20%, I'd say sometimes even 15. Maybe on a given day it's 10. It kind of depends, right? Because if you are training your builders on the 3 pillars and they are spending 80% of their time in the 3 pillars, and then they're training people to spend 80% of their time in the 3 pillars, you might find on a given day that 10% of your time is spent working with your actual builders because they are so busy doing the 3 pillars and building relationships. How amazing and empowering is that? So working with builders is a very small percentage of what we do. What this could look like is somebody comes to you, wants some mentorship, wants some support, but you know what we do? Is we point them to the 3 pillars and we say, this is what I do. This is what you need to be doing. And you teach them the 3 pillars and you mentor them in the 3 pillars, right? It's not doing the work for somebody else, okay? But that's not sustainable at the end of the day. In order for people, I think truly from my heart, in order for people to be successful in life, not just Young Living, but to find actual success in life, there's a personal responsibility component there. And that is exactly what the 3 pillars is, you guys. At the end of the day, the 3 pillars is personal responsibility and doing what we can control, not having expectations on others and not doing the work for others. That, if we do try and do the work for others, it's going to be very hard for that to be sustainable over time and to create a strong foundation for your team. Okay? All right. So the 3 pillars takes the pressure off the idea of having to do the business that you feel like you have to manage and run. Listen, I didn't get into Young Living. At the end of the day, I didn't stay with Young Living because I wanted to manage people. I don't find joy and fulfillment in managing the actions of others. I find joy and fulfillment in managing my actions and helping people get started with me, making relationships with people, helping them understand their health more. That's what I want to be doing. I don't want to be running a team or managing people. I want to be making relationships with people on my team, but I don't want to have to feel like I have to control what they do, okay? So the 3 pillars takes that pressure off. And at the end of the day, I think we can all say that that's a good thing because we feel exhausted when we have to try to manage people. This business does not have to be complicated, you guys. As long as you consistently work in the 3 pillars, your business will grow and it will move forward with direction. And that, my friends, is at the end of the day, everything. Having direction, not feeling lost, feeling like we have a purpose, doing things with purpose. If you teach your business builders to do the 3 pillars, and then they do those 3 pillars, your business will grow too, because that is healthy duplication. Okay, guys, I appreciate you listening today, and I appreciate getting to know you through this screen. I hope that one day I get to come over there and meet you all personally. Again, thank you for your time. Thank you for investing in yourself. You can reach out to me at any time. You can find me on social media. You can just reach out however you need. Also remember your support network, right? This might be a new concept for not just you, but it might be a new concept for people who you have current relationships with and current mentor relationships with. So I encourage you to present this to everybody you know in Young Living and get this process going as a successful and sustainable way to grow your business. All right, guys, I hope you have a beautiful rest of your training, and we will see you very soon.